Welcome and thanks for joining us. My guest today is Ian Farquhar, the Security Chief Technology Officer at Gigamon. Hey Ian, it's great to have you on.
Great to be on. Thanks for asking me to.
Absolutely. And so, of course, the federal zero trust strategy is really that North Star of where agencies are going. I think a lot of commercial businesses are probably taking a really hard look at zero trust architecture as well. And zero trust puts a huge focus on a lot of different areas, but a couple of those areas are both encryption and decryption of network traffic. And I know that's an area that you're an expert in. Can you kind of walk us through why these issues are so important to zero trust?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the core concepts of zero trust, as defined by NIST SP 800-207, is that it is highly data-centric. That means that we need to be able to apply controls on the basis of data. Now, while we can do this on managed endpoints by endpoint type solutions, there are two things. One, they're not the only thing on our networks. We have lots of devices that might be heavily data laden, like mainframes that won't run endpoint type solutions. And secondly, our networks contain a whole bunch of devices such as IoT, OT, ICS, SCADA that do critical things or still contain critical data like photocopiers, for example, document centers. We need to be able to deal with data on these devices. Therefore, we need to be able to look at this data in transit. So while, yes, zero trust says you must encrypt, and that's fairly obvious, we also need the ability to inspect. And that's why TLS inspection, as the NSA likes to call it, TLSI, is so important.
What was that last term you said there's a tailless inspection?
TLS inspection, yes, that seems to be the term that they like. And there are so many words for that. Break and inspect, enterprise TLS inspection, TLSI, and the old one, which we try not to use anymore, which is man in the middle, because it's non-inclusive, but nonetheless, all of these things fundamentally refer to the same series of technologies.
And this essentially means that you can inspect traffic as it's transiting the networks and the devices, whatever and wherever they are.
Absolutely. And it's really important that that be done securely, because you are taking a connection that is secure between a client and a server and putting it somewhere else. So the security and the way this is done is absolutely critical.
And so, what are some of the ways that current decryption works? What do you see as some of the challenges there?
Well, one of the challenges is, and I think I'm fair in saying this, is the industry for many, many years has been looking for a single magic solution to TLS inspection. The first TLS inspection I'm aware of was probably 2004-ish. So, we're coming up to 20 years next year doing this sort of thing, and we've been doing it in proxies. We've had middleware boxes, all these sorts of approaches, and everybody's been looking for the perfect one. And I think the industry's coming to the conclusion that there is no perfect solution. There is no one-size-fits-all solution for TLS inspection. What we need to do is deploy the best solution for our specific needs, be that break and inspect or break, inspect, and fix, be that other approaches that are done closer to the endpoint, be that the server or the client. And you choose the best one for how you want. And one of the things I think a lot of people forget when they're doing TLSI is that if you go and read RFC 8446, the TLS 1.2, one of the definition, one of the first things it actually says, the primary purpose of TLS is to protect data in transit. We're literally undermining the primary purpose of the protocol, but we're undermining it in a secure and appropriate way. TLS is that classic double-edged sword. It can be used to protect us. It can also hurt us. We've got to find that balance. And I think this is why there is no perfect solution, because there's no perfect solution to risk. We've got to choose the best one for what we're trying to do.
Got it. And we have a lot of cybersecurity pros watching us here, but just for folks who are unaware, we're talking about transport layer security inspection, TLS inspection, as Ian has been explaining. for us. And so, yeah, you mentioned there's no perfect one across the board solution. How do these different solutions work together today? How do you tailor TLS inspection to your needs?
You've got to look at what you're trying to achieve. You've got to look at the environment. You've got to look at the cost and the benefit. Anybody who says for any security problem that there is a one-size-fits-all solution probably needs to step back and reevaluate how risk works. Take, for example, a TLS inspection that you do at the edge of your network, the north-south perimeter. That's going to be a very, very different solution to the one you would use to inspect traffic between two containers. You're not going to use exactly the same solution there. There are some applications. There's a particular organization we deal with that runs a very, very large service-based infrastructure inside a data center. Every single transaction involves 150 different TLS transactions. If you did break and inspect between every single one of those, the amount of latency you'd add is huge. This comes to my point. There's no one size fits all. What's your application? What's the parameters of that application? What do you actually need? And which of the solutions, because there are at least 8 different solutions that I'm aware of when I map this out as in my role as a CTO. How do we do this? We look at 8 different solutions and wow, which one works in which environment? That can have some very interesting aspects that feed into it. Some very interesting parameters that go into that allow us to choose it. But as security architects, as InfoSec architects, that's our job. And having this choice is actually a real benefit, because I've been in situations where I've been trying to shoehorn the wrong approach into a network, and that just doesn't work. That's horrible. You've got to choose the right tool for the job.
Got it. Well, that's a really interesting point. I mean, I think the federal zero trust strategy also talks about how agencies are expected to kind of strike a balance between the depth of visibility they need with the risks presented by a lot of these, inspection devices, things like that. Going forward, specific to federal agencies, how do you kind of recommend they try to strike that balance?
Well, you said something really, really interesting there, and it's something that's very dear to my heart as well. Everything can be broken into with enough effort, fundamentally. And one thing I notice in a lot of organizations, even in federal, doing zero trust, is that they're implementing controls to do zero trust requirements. And they're not asking themselves, if this device, if this firewall, if this email gateway, not to pick on Barracuda, but there's an example, was broken into, how would you actually detect that? A lot of these particular security appliances or even virtual appliances, you can't run an endpoint agent on them. You've got to look at the network traffic. And if you're looking at the network traffic, you're looking from the outside. The attacker can't prevent you from looking at the traffic from the outside. Therefore, looking at network traffic is so important. And what a shock. That's exactly what NIST SP 800-207 says, section 3.4.1. Look at the network traffic, feed it into the policy engine. That's how you detect compromised controls, compromised appliances, compromised firewalls, all of this stuff. Look at the traffic, because that's where the truth is.
You've always got to respect someone who can get right down to the specific NIST .1 control there. That's you always got to look out for those people. All right, Ian, we've had a great little conversation here. I appreciate the time. Again, Ian Farquhar, the Security Chief Technology Officer at Gigamon. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Again, I'm your moderator, Justin Doubleday, and you're watching Federal News Network. Now let me send you back to the studio for more on the CyberLeaders Exchange.